Hi, fashion dolls. Welcome to another new episode of Style by Stevie, and happy Pride. It is Pride Month all this June, and our very special guest today was born in Augusta, Georgia, and he has went on to travel with his family that is based in the military from New York, Germany, and Oklahoma. Joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have actor Demetrius Stevens, and I apologize about the delays. This hair, yes, thank you, fuchsia. Taraji P. Henson was my hair inspiration, and the dress that I'm wearing today is from Blue Haze Clothing. So make sure you guys please go and give my girl Babs a follow. Follow her. She's in Atlanta. Follow Behati Beauty at Gay Magazine. And without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, Demetrius Stevens.
Hey,
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Dollhouse. Good evening.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is such a pleasure to have you here. So, before we kick off this interview, how has your 2022 been thus far? Because I know we've had some ups and downs
Yeah.
with pandemic, and it's still going on. And we had some timing issues. My AC went out on me. We got it fixed. So, how has 2022 been for you thus far?
Uh it's definitely been interesting. Caught COVID this year, which, that wasn't fun.
Oh,
Yeah, luckily vaccinated all that, so I pretty much just had a headache, but yeah, caught COVID. Uh so like I said, that wasn't that fun. Um but other than that, I have to admit, man, for me, like my life in general has it's been okay this year so far. It's been okay. I know this could be a lot worse. I know there's people out there struggling and trying to make it. So I'm very fortunate to be in the position to where that's not necessarily the case for me. So I'm I'm blessed. I mean, my family's good, we're healthy, doing well. So I'm good. My daughter running around. She's happy. So I really can't complain. I really can't.
and that's good to hear. I'm glad you're doing better because it is definitely rough. It's allergy season. I'm in South Carolina.
Absolutely.
I absolutely know about allergy season all too well in the Pollen County. All right, fashion dolls, let's open this storybook. So you were born in Augusta, Georgia, to a military family. So tell us a little
Yes.
bit about that experience.
Yeah, so my dad retired a few years ago. Well, actually, not a few years ago, maybe like 5, 6 years ago now. But yeah, military brat. I'm the youngest of three, so I'm originally from Augusta. Lived there, I think, like a year or something like that before we packed up and moved to Germany. So we were all over from Germany to Oklahoma, Georgia, New York, Virginia. So Virginia is pretty much the place that I claim as home because I was there for I don't know, maybe like 8, 9 years or something like that. So I pretty much just say Fredericksburg, Virginia is the place that, I call home. And for those who don't know, Fredericksburg is right in the middle between Richmond, Virginia and Washington, D.C. It's about an hour away from both. And that's actually where I actually started acting and whatnot. But I absolutely loved being a military brat. It was really cool just going to different places and meeting different people. And I think that's actually helped me a lot with my career
Yeah.
because you're just so open to just so many different people and aspects, and you're just willing to learn. And travel is a big part of my life even to this day. So obviously, COVID messed up a lot of things, but um, me and my wife, we still go places all the time, and it's just cool. Like I said, just learning and experiencing different cultures and religions and people, and just different ideas of and the way people think. So I can't talk. It did a lot for me. It definitely it opened up my eyes to a lot of things, and like I said, and it really has helped within my career because in this business, again, you meet so many different people from so many different places, and you have to know how to adapt, how to talk to people, how to get along with people. So it definitely helped me out a lot, and I'm appreciative to my parents for that.
So what is that experience like going all the way from Augusta, Georgia to now furthering your acting career? You started acting very late. You started in 2013. So what was
Yeah.
that experience like for you transitioning coming from Augusta? You said you moved around a lot. You were a
Mhm.
military brat, military kid, going from country to continent to continent and doing
Yeah.
all of these things, different experiences, different times, everything. What is that experience like for you coming from that into now jump starting your acting career? And why so late?
It's it's funny. I remember as a kid, I don't know what it was, but I was just super influenced by Jim Carrey. I remember, like, my parents would tell you they got so sick of me because I would want to watch The Mask 100 times a day and Liar Liar and everything. So I was just a big Jim Carrey fan. And I remember one day I was watching The Mask for like the 1 millionth time, and I said to my mom, I was like, "Hey, I want to do that." And my mom has always been super supportive, so she was like, "You can do it if you want to." And it's weird because even though she believed in me and she said that, I guess a part of me didn't really believe it myself. And granted, you see actors every day on commercials and shows and whatnot, but for whatever reason, I just didn't think that was possible for me. So we're in Virginia, graduate high school. I'm going to a community college at the time. The plan was to get my associates, which I did, and then after that, go to a school called Mary Washington University because I pretty much got accepted in every school I applied to, including University of Georgia and just everywhere. So the plan was to go to school, get my degree, join the military like my dad, following his footsteps because I was like, I see what the military did, and I see the money he made, and blah blah blah. So, and it's funny because I'm like, God, life, whatever you believe in, it works in mysterious ways because I was in my last semester of class and I was getting ready to go to Mary Washington, pay the deposit and everything. I'm like, hey, got my associates, but I knock out my bachelor's, I'll be good to go. And I had a professor, his name's Mr. Taylor. And I remember, like I said, it had to be maybe the second to last class or something like that before the semester ended. Literally my last class. And he said to us, he was like, hey, what do you guys want to do for a living, right? So everybody's raising their hand. I want to be in the military. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer, blah, 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 right? And then he said, okay, I'm going to ask you that same question, but
Yeah.
you have to answer it, but you have to pretend that money doesn't exist, but you still have to do something just for society. So he's like, money doesn't exist, but you still have to work. What do you want to do? And it was amazing how so many answers changed. One guy said, I want to be a lawyer. Then he said, actually, I want to write poems. And he said he wanted to be a lawyer because his parents were lawyers. So it was just interesting just hearing different answers if you didn't think about money existing and having to pay bills and all that kind of good stuff. So when it got to me, I was like, man, I remember as a kid, like I really wanted to be an actor. And I was like, I think that would be kind of cool. So he said to me, he was like, Demetrius, I can't tell you what to do with your life. He was like, but if your passion isn't into the military, he said, it's not going to work out. He was like, you have to do what you're passionate about, regardless if you get paid or not. No matter if it's $1 million or $1. He said, just go after your passion. So I remember I came home that day, went to my mom and said, hey, I know the plan was to finish out 2 more years and get my degree and all that kind of stuff. I said, but I think I'm going to give acting a shot. And just like before, she was like, go for it. My dad was kind of like, I don't know. But I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And he said, ultimately, it's your life, it's your choice. Do what you need to do. And then I just never looked back. I'm a big researcher. So the first thing I did was get online. Hey, how do you get this started? What do I need? Where do I go? And again, living in Fredericksburg, and we called it the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia at the time. I was like, what opportunities are around here? Um, got extremely lucky because they were filming House of Cards at the time for Netflix. So I was able to be an extra on that, for like 2 or 3 episodes. And that was important because I got to learn what it was like to be on a set, understand the lingo, see how things worked. And then after being an extra, probably for about 3 to 4 months for different shows, I was like, all right, let me go for it. And did a bunch of short films, student films, independents, not getting paid anything. And being honest, my performances were horrible, but it was just that it was training in a way, even though I didn't realize it. So just kind of kept doing it, getting better at it, start developing relationships. The next thing you know, you're auditioning for bigger roles, bigger projects, national commercials. And luckily I was able to book a few, started training, like I said, developing relationships. And pretty much I got really close to a casting director, Erica Arvald, and she was like, hey, I really think you should go down to Atlanta. She was like, Atlanta is a gold mine
Black
right now.
Panther.
Absolutely. So she was like, Atlanta is a gold mine right now. You need to get down there. I said, okay. So submitted for some agents. One signed me and they were like, hey, I'll sign you, but you have to get down here. So life full circle, ended back up in Georgia.
And look at you now. You have to
Yeah.
start somewhere. You went and you pursued it. And normally when we say we want to get into the entertainment business, whether it's music, acting, or what I
Mhm.
do, hosting a platform, our parents are sort of reluctant about it. Like,
Absolutely.
and when you said that, I kind of thought about somebody, the singer Brandy. And
Mm.
her daughter does music as well too. She was on Arsenio Hall, and her mom, Sonia Norwood, and Brandy was asked, "Would you allow your daughter to get into the music industry?" And at first they were like, "No, no, 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 no. She's going
Yeah.
to be a dentist. She's going to be a doctor." And it's the complete opposite now. Now she's doing music.
Mm.
So, I guess there must have been a lot of conversations had behind the scenes. Parents are sort of reluctant about putting their children out there in the
Absolutely.
entertainment industry, in the limelight, because they know how the industry is. And my thing is this, because I've been doing this since I was, 17 years old, is to basically remain humble and true
Mm.
to who you are. I'm 28 now and I haven't changed. The only thing that changes is my looks, my hair color, and my fashion each season, because we're now in season 16. We've been doing this for a very, very
Wow.
long time.
That's awesome.
And yes, I always change up my look, but the personality of who I am is going to remain the same.
Mm.
It's always going to be that, straightforward, no chaser,
Yeah.
letting people know what it is and how to get into this industry and this business. Even my mom always tells me this every day, because we had a conversation a few minutes ago. Because we was messaging before my AC went out and everything here. I was sweating hard.
Mm.
Um, my mom told me never forget and put God first in everything that you do, no
I love
matter
it.
how big you get. Always put God first in everything that you do. Never forget, and that's a living and breathing testimony right there. I'm blessed and
Mm.
thankful to have both of my parents. Some people don't have that fortune. They're still here
Yeah.
and living. And my mom and me sat down and have a conversation. We're in the dark having a conversation, and dogs are barking. The AC man is outside working on the air conditioning. It's a lot going on. So with that, she said, God is going to continue to bless you. You keep doing what you're doing. So it's great to know that the parents are now starting to be understanding, and they can
Yeah.
learn. This
Absolutely.
can be a learning experience for them as well, too, about the industry.
Yeah, and it's amazing too, like how much changes. Because again, like I said, my mom was supportive from Jump Street, but in the beginning, nobody really knows what to expect. And now, like when we have premieres, she wants to come, and all those kind of things are constantly asking me, "What did you audition for? What did you book?" So it's amazing how much changes over time, especially when they see that you're serious about it as well. Because I know, especially for me, I was changing what I wanted to be every 5 seconds, right? So I think that it would be like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. They're like, okay, cool. I want to be a detective. Okay, cool. But when they actually see you, pick something and you're putting in the work to be good at it, to be great at it. And it's almost like that saying goes, like people will help you when you're willing to help yourself. I think it's kind of the same. It's the same thing. It's just like, oh, wait, he or she is really serious about this. And when they see you're really serious about something, I think they're willing to help you more, and they're just excited for you more when things start to, pick up for you. So, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. And it's all coming full circle. And our parents, even when we get up in senior, because I know right now is graduation season, a lot of our kids, I don't have kids, I have nieces and nephews,
Hmm.
but a lot of them are starting to graduate. And the parents always ask that question, because I got to talk. My brother surely got to talk. He went straight to the military. Me, I
Hmm.
said, okay, I'm going to go to beauty school and I'm going to host a talk show. And
Cool.
people were like, huh? Because I've been that since I was very, very young. But to see it now come together full circle and
Yeah.
happen, it's just like, wow. At first, I kind of doubted myself, but to now see from then to where I'm at now, at this point in my life, I'm just like, you're coming and you're conquering and you're overcoming everything that you put out there in the
There you
universe.
go.
So our parents always have that talk with us, like, what are you gonna do after high school? Are you gonna go to college? We
Hmm.
all have gotten the talk. Trust me, I've gotten it from my father. My father's also a military man as well too. He's a vet. And my brother also served in the military. My uncle, so it's like it runs in my family. People
Hmm.
don't take it seriously until you take yourself exactly, exactly. And I'm the type of person I like to prove people wrong. So when
I'm
people say
doing that.
no, you can't, I can't, and watch me
Absolutely.
show you. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so did Dad's reaction change to seeing you? Because I seen the Doritos commercial that you did.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Did,
yeah.
did
It's
Dad see you?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it was funny because again, in the beginning, he was like, "Hey, go after what you want," but I can tell he was a little bit more hesitant than my mom. But like I said, over time, I think when I just showed him like, "Hey, I'm completely serious about this," and then it's funny. It's just like, and I guess you can even relate in your field. It's like nobody really knows or understands what's going on behind the scenes until you're actually, I guess, out there, right? And it's almost like when people say, like, I hate that term overnight success. I don't believe in it at all, because like I've met plenty of actors who are very successful and they're like, hey, it took me 30 years to become an overnight success, right? So it's just like, with my dad, I think it was kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, let me see again if he's actually serious about it. And then once the bookings start happening, that's when he's like, oh, wait, okay, this is real. He didn't necessarily see, the staying up late trying to study sides or preparing for auditions. But when you actually see, oh, look, I booked this, and then you see it on TV. And I know with the Mountain Dew commercial, he's a huge basketball fan. So to do it with Bradley Beal from the Wizards, that was like, oh, wait, like, this stuff is real.
Yeah.
So I think like once I started, like I said, just booking a bit, that's when he was like, okay, yeah, like this is really happening for you. So ever since then, same thing, just super supportive. Always reminding me, hey, don't give up, keep going, because as you know, not every day is full of bookings. It's like I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, I've been so busy that I've had to turn down jobs, and then I've had times where I can't pay somebody to book me. It's just, and it's finding that middle ground. Staying happy, because that's the biggest thing too. I always told myself, the money that I make from time to time is great, cool. But the day that I'm no longer happy is the day I'm done doing this. And I think that's what keeps me going, because ultimately, whether I'm booking or not, in class, on set, auditioning, whatever the case is, just talking to people, getting to know people throughout this industry, it makes me happy. And I think that's all you can truly ask for when it comes to any career. The money is cool. I'll be the first to tell you that. I've booked some projects that have paid me a ton of money. It's awesome. But at the same time, that's not everything. That's not what wakes me up in the morning. I have financial goals, but that's not what wakes me up in the morning. It's just, how can I get better at my craft, whether I book or not? So I just kind of have that mindset about, this industry, and that's what I think about every day. And it's been pretty good to me so far.
Yeah. And I love that you said middle ground, because that was actually going to be my next part of the conversation with your husband. You're a family man, you're a dad. How do you find that balance from being Demetrius the actor and being Demetrius the family man?
You
Because
know
I
what?
know it's a lot having a balanced family. Trust me, I know it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest too. At one point, my daughter she's going on 2 years old. Her name's Phoenix, and she'll be 2 in September. So when my wife told me she was pregnant, I'm going to be completely real. I wasn't that happy, right? And I wasn't happy because I had naturally just went to the selfish thoughts of acting. Because at one point, acting was, don't get me wrong, it's still important to me, but it was so important to me that I felt like I was putting it above any and everybody else. So naturally, when my wife was like, hey, I'm pregnant, the first thing I thought about was, oh my God, how am I going to be able to get these auditions submitted? How am I going to be able to leave for days at a time and film and this, that, and the third? And I just remember thinking to myself, like, there's no way that I can raise a child and pursue this. It's just, it can't happen. And it had to be like a day or two that I was thinking that went by, that me and my mom talked on the phone, and she was just like, what makes you think that? And I was just like, Mom, like, it's just too hard. I can't do both. And she was like, how many people have had children and they're in this business and they're doing just fine? And it's funny you brought up Taraji. She sent me the article about Taraji. She said she had like $700 to her name, fresh baby, and drove from DC to LA to pursue her dreams. And it was just like, yeah, if they can do it, why can't I? So I had to do a lot of apologizing to she was my fiance at the time, but my wife. We talked about it. We sat down. We pretty much just put a plan together. And we were like, hey, we can still make this happen. We just have to adjust. It's not the same. You just have to adjust. So now my auditions are probably earlier in the morning or late at night. If I have an audition to where I have to, speak up a bit, yell a bit, scream a bit, whatever the case is, I'll have my mom take her outside, or I have a friend take her outside. It's just adjusting. So it's been great. It has been absolutely fantastic. Just having both. And like you said, that middle ground. So like audition, go to set, film, come home, play with my daughter. And it's cool too, because now she's kind of been getting incorporated into certain projects. I know my agent from time to time will send me something and it's like a family project. And they're like, hey, they want to see Phoenix too. So I'm a little hesitant because I'm like, I'm not sure how early, or at all, if I even want to
Right.
get her started in it. I kind of want that to be her decision, but she's 19 months, so she can't make that decision. But some auditions, we've done together. And I think that's a cool thing too, to where you incorporate your family in what you do. I remember I filmed a Kaiser Permanente healthcare commercial, and it was pretty cool because they were like, hey, we booked out some apartment and I'm filming my scenes, and they were like, we need pictures of you. So they used a couple of pictures of me and my wife. Like, it's just kind of cool just incorporating my family into projects, or when she comes to the premieres or whatever. So yeah, I definitely separate them because, family time, but it's also cool to incorporate them together. And I think that's been the great balance for us. So it's been pretty cool.
All right. Yeah, it's all about balance because I had to ask that question because I personally, and I know a lot of actors that I've interviewed, whoever I've interviewed on this platform, have said the same thing. I have to
Yeah,
find that balance with, balancing our family time and being on set. It's difficult, especially with the times that we're in right now, because it's
absolutely.
an ongoing thing. It seems like it's never ending, but it's still here.
Absolutely.
So let's go down because you have so many acting credits. You have at least 23, 24 acting credits. So
Hmm.
I'm going to go down a few. You did Dead Serious, Gray Hairs, and A Sea of Sound and Silence, Thatcher, The Other Stuff, Blessed Hands, ATL Homicide, In the
Yeah.
Shadow of a Hero, Womanizer, Rose is Not a Flower, The Chronos Effect, Legends and Lies,
Yeah.
Territory, A Haunting Criminals at Work, Spider-Man Lives, a Miles Morales story, and
Hmm.
For My Man, which is on TV1. I'm so
Hmm.
familiar with that show because I've interviewed a few of my guests have been on that show, and if not
Yeah.
that show, then it's ATL Homicide.
Yeah. They
So
were great to film.
out of all the acting credits, because I couldn't get to them all, which one has to hold a very special place to your heart? And do you ever find yourself like getting caught up into the character? Like, okay, I need to pull back. I'm no longer the character. I'm Demetrius now. Where the director's like, okay, cut. You're not the character anymore. You're not the
I said,
character.
yeah. I got to say, man, that's tough. I think that because along with all those credits you just named, I know something I book a lot too is commercials, and the commercials are not necessarily on IMDb. So I did Mountain Dew, Sparkle Paper Towel. I just finished filming a commercial for the children's book, Good Night Moon, and things like that. But it's just it's tough to think about like which project has my heart. If I had to lean towards one, that probably is Spider-Man. And I remember we filmed Spider-Man, shoot, like 2014 or something like that. And I think that's the one that really that gets to me because it was just pretty much a group of guys and they were like, hey, we want to film a fan film. And at the time I'm like, what is a fan film? And they were like, hey, pretty much people who are a fan of a character, we get together, we put money together and we just film a project. And I was like, all right, cool. So I auditioned, I booked it, and I remember we filmed it in Maryland. I can't necessarily remember what part of Maryland, but we go film for like 3 or 4 days, and I'm not really thinking too much of it. Don't get me wrong, it was fantastic. A lot of cool people. People did a lot of hard work, so I definitely enjoyed it. But when they dropped it on, it was just YouTube. Dropped it on YouTube, and the next thing I know, it hits like 3, 4, 5 million views, and I'm like, whoa, right. And I remember Marvel retweeted us and things like that, and some of the crew got invited out to LA for Comic-Con and stuff like that. So I remember, again, I was living in Fredericksburg, so like the local paper came out, interviewed me. Then I had some interviews with like Washington Times and the Chicago paper and things like that. So I remember that project was the first time where I was like, whoa, like you just never know what you put out, like what can happen. And I remember that was the project that really gave me a lot of confidence too. Like, you know what? Hey, Demetrius, you can definitely get better because you can always get better, but hey, you're pretty good. Like you can damn near book anything. So that project really opened up a lot of doors for me as well. That connected me to my first agent. That project connected me to other projects as far as like, hey, you don't have to audition. Here's the role. Do you want it or not? Um, so that's the one that I'm forever thankful for. Forever thankful for. But the one that I'm most excited about is well, I just finished filming a project with a young jock. It's called The Gas Station Pill. So that's going to be coming out on BT Plus. I play a police officer. Yeah, so look out for that. I'm really excited about that. But you named the project Dead Serious. Dead Serious stars myself. It stars Little Zane, and we filmed that here in Atlanta. We just had a premiere for it. The premiere was incredible. A lot of people showed out, showed love. A couple of networks are already interested in the project, so we'll see what happens. But that's a project that I'm really, really excited about. I got to play a zombie, and that was the first time, I
I
was able to
see
play.
photos. I was
Yeah,
like,
like, man, and that's probably the character that I kind of had to be like, whoa, like, remember your Demetrius, because it's like you can prepare for a role and you can do it to the best of your ability and you can do it all day, which is great. But when you actually get on set and they put that makeup on you and you're around just the ambiance of the set, it's hard to kind of, remember that you are Demetrius. Like my character, his name was Adam. He's a zombie. He's crazy. He's a conscious zombie, which makes him different. So he's cussing people out. He's disrespecting women, calling them out of their names. He's eating people. He's all over the place. And it was just so much fun to play because this is obviously something that's just completely different from me in real life. So those are the characters I'm really attracted to play somebody that's just not me at all. Because you get to explore. You're like, what makes somebody a serial killer? What makes somebody want to, I don't know, just do anything that you wouldn't normally do in your everyday life, you know? Right. So what makes this person, do that? What makes this person tick? And that's what I found so interesting. So, yeah, Spider-Man is the project I'm definitely most thankful for. Dead Serious and The Gas Station Pit, which are both dropping very soon. Those are the ones I'm really excited about.
and the gas station film with Young Drop will be dropping on BET Plus. So you
BET
guys,
Plus, yeah. So, my man Kevin Samuels, he was in Lovecraft Country, a fantastic actor. Like I said, Young Jock, Delicious from Flavor of Love, she's also in it. Um, so yeah, very, very excited about that project. I can't wait for it to drop. I think it's gonna be really good.
all right, let me go through and read some comments. Shout outs to my girl Blue Haze, who's responsible for this gorgeous dress. For my ladies, if you're in the ATL, please go and shop Blue Haze clothing right now. She has something for every woman of every shape and size. And the dress that I'm wearing is called I think it's called the Royalty dress. You guys have to go and check it out. Blue Haze clothing. And Quiet Rainstorm says people don't take, yeah, you read that one, but it was another. There we go. He said you are so well spoken. I definitely will buy an audiobook if he had one.
It's funny. I don't know if that was a man or woman that said that, but thank you. It's funny they said that because that's another thing that I've been getting into lately is voiceover. So with that being said, my first voiceover project is dropping this year, which is really cool. It's a Civil War project. So I'm really, really excited about that. We recorded that last year.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's another thing. You film these things, you record these things, and just basing on schedule, like you never really know when they're going to drop. So I'm crazy, crazy excited about that. I play a soldier. And it's really interesting because it's a story about these soldiers during the Civil War, but it's told through chess pieces. So my character is literally a chess piece, if that makes sense. Shaped like a soldier. So that's why it's voiceover. But I'm really, really excited about that. Also have another project dropping to where I will be reading a children's book. So yeah, audio projects, excited about that one too. So I hear that a lot when I'm on set, when I audition, like, hey, you have a great voice. And I never really thought about it that way, but I was like, hey, I use it to my advantage. So luckily the last, few months I've been able to book some things strictly off my voice. So hopefully that continues.
And you could do like Samuel Jackson. Is it Samuel Jackson or more? I think it's either Samuel
Yeah,
Jackson or
they
Morgan
both.
Freeman that do the
Morgan Freeman does a
narrative.
lot.
Matthew McConaughey as well too has like a
Absolutely.
little podcast thing where he narrate. Yeah, like
Absolutely.
definitely get
Yeah,
into it.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
I'm so sick of you with your gorgeous self. You are rocking that dress. Thank you, girl. It's all to you. It's all to you, Blue Haze. Shout outs to my brother K Tooks 85. We have something special coming up. I'm not gonna speak on that. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to his channel. Check out his talk show as well to the K Tooks spot. So my next question for you is, and then we're going to get into our games and then take some questions from the audience and then wrap up.
Okay.
Is what's next for Demetrius? Because I know you have all of these things coming up in the future, the films and so much more, and voiceover. Where do you see yourself in the future? Like, do you see yourself producing and directing also as well too?
Absolutely. I'm a big believer in nobody gets to where they are without some help in any way, shape, or
Mm.
form.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, financially, whatever the case is, everybody has gotten help in some way. And that's, the same for me. I've had a lot of people throughout my life, family, friends, people in the industry just help me in many different ways. So I always told myself eventually I want to do the same. I want to film a project that I'm not a part of acting wise at all. I just want to, cast people and give them the opportunity to, yeah, show their skill set. Um, so that's something I definitely want to do. I'm not sure when I actually want to do it because right now I'm kind of rocking and rolling, but eventually, I definitely I want to do that. I want to help people. And I know even now, like even with just advice or like, hey, how do you book this? What sites do you use? Blah, blah, blah. How do you get an agent? It's just like I answer all kind of questions because again, I had those questions myself at one point. Um, as far as filming, I have a project I was about to say coming out. We don't film until August. So filming a project in August is called No Stone Left Unturned. And it's something that I'm very passionate about because the subject of it is human trafficking. And as a lot of people know, it is a huge, unfortunately, it is a huge business, especially in major cities, even places like Atlanta. I know it's sad that, we're selling little kids and whatnot, but it's making billions and billions of dollars. It's a huge industry. So we're filming a project to kind of bring awareness to that. Um, Unfortunately, my character is on the side of, wanting that industry to continue. But the gist of the film is just about, about that and what these guys are doing to get their daughter back. So I'm really excited about that. Um, like I said, just my daughter's growing. We're having a house built. Um, it's a lot. And I'm excited. My wife's pregnant. She's due like in like a couple of weeks. Thank you. Yes, I'm having another little daughter, two girls. So I'm excited about that. So I don't really know what's next. I mean, I know I have these things coming out and these things, happening, but it's life. It's just like I never really know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to enjoy it and, go along for the ride and, just try to help people along the way.
Don't laugh, but I closed my eyes listening to him. I felt like I was getting tucked in and almost said goodbye. Oh my goodness. I mean, do you get that from people a lot? Like
I
your
get that
voice
a lot.
is that soothing.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I remember a friend of mine, it was a while ago. He's working from home. I forgot what company he worked for, but he answers the phone. So I was at his house one time just sitting there playing video games as he's at work. And he had to run to use the bathroom. And he was like, yo, Demetrius, I need you to answer this phone call real quick. And I'm like, yo, I don't work at your job. And he was like, hey, just say hello, put him on hold, tell me you'll help him. So I'm like, okay, sure, to help him out. So I get on the phone and I'm like, hello, my name is, then I said his name and I was like, I'm sorry, something with the system. I made up some BS. System's going down, give me a minute. I'm gonna put you on a brief hold. So my friend got back in time and he got back on the phone and she was just like, wait, that's not you. And she was like, that voice that was talking before, like it was amazing, it was beautiful. Like that's not you. So that's when I realized I was like, wait, maybe I do have like a decent little voice, and like I said, I can do something with it. So yeah, I definitely get that a lot about my voice, a lot.
And instead of doing ATL Homicide and what's the other show? What is the other show? Fatal Attraction, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Instead of being one of the actors, you could probably do the voiceover. I remember one of the episodes they had. Oh, she's one of my favorite actors, Lynn Whitfield. She
Mm-hmm.
narrated
She
for
narrated it.
Fatal
Yeah,
Attraction. So they
it's.
probably have you come back and do it.
I was gonna say it's so funny you said that because I did film for ATL and Fatal and For My Man. Um, Recently, I was offered a role in Snapped, but unfortunately, there was scheduling conflicts because I was already committed to something else. But it was a narrating situation, so I'm hoping that eventually I can probably get back to that. Excuse me, and hopefully I'll be able to do it in the future. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen. It's going to happen at some point, but I'm all for it.
And it's coming. It's coming
Absolutely,
100%. The manifestation. All right,
absolutely.
fashion dolls, it is time for our games here with Demetrius. The first one is going to be called the Rapid Five. And Demetrius has to tell me five things that he can't live without. And it
Mm.
can be just life in general, like, for example, goals, passions.
Ooh.
It could be snacks. Sometimes some of my guests will say their favorite snack foods. They'll say their favorite teams, football wise, whatever they want to.
Okay.
For me, because y'all know I'm a makeup girl, I would say my top 5 beauty brands. So for you, what are the top 5 things that you can't live
So my wife, I love that woman to death. Um, can't do damn near anything without her. My daughter, same thing. Love her so much. Acting for sure. Traveling, love traveling. I've been almost everywhere, so I love traveling and seafood. I love seafood.
with?
Crab cakes, lobster, shrimp. I love seafood. So those are my top 5.
Don't say crab because I know my aunt is here somewhere watching and she loves crab. Me, I love shrimp. I'm a shrimp fanatic. So,
Oh, they're both amazing. So good. So good, so good.
all right, Fashion Dolls, that is his top 5. It is time to turn those tables. And this is where my guests get to ask me questions for the new viewers out there that are wanting to get to know more about me, the hostess here on Style by Stevie. My guests get to ask me questions. It can be about life in general. It can be about my passions, my whatever it is. So I'm going to pass it on down to Demetrius.
Okay. Oh, so you said I get to ask you questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, first question. What made you want to do what you do? What made you say, hey, I want to start this platform. I want to interview people. I want to talk about life. Like, what made you want to do it?
Well, when I was younger, I had a passion I said I always was going to host a talk show. I remember lining up because I was big on doing hair when I was a baby. And I remember I used to get the dark and lovely boxes and things and line them up in my father's room. And I would have the women in my family, they would use the products, of course, and they would give me the empty boxes and I would line them all up. And I had this little thing that you crush medicine up with, like it was a microphone, pretending I was a talk show host, interviewing all the women on the boxes. So I said, one day I'm going to be one of those women on that box. I'm going to be interviewing people. So that's kind of what got me into doing what I'm doing. And it broke me out of my shell because I wasn't always outspoken. I was very introverted. And this has definitely helped me step out of my shell a lot. And I know people that I've went to school with watch the platform and they're like, wow, you changed a lot. So I'm just like, yeah, I've just gotten a voice because before, I was just very to myself, introverted, but I kind of stepped out of my shell and this is what this platform has helped me done. So,
That's incredible. Okay. And I'm going to flip one because you asked me this question. Same for you.
mhm.
5 years, 10 years. Where do you see yourself?
I see myself with my own clothing brand. I see
Ooh,
myself with my own hair salon. I
okay.
see myself with my own talk show. I see myself expanding in the world of beauty and so much more, skincare, makeup, things like that.
Mm,
I would see myself expanding in the next 5 to 10 years with this brand right now. So that's where I want to be.
okay. I got another one for you. Acting. Ever think about
Mm.
done it? Is that something that you in front of the camera, behind the camera, would you ever, dip into that industry as far as, like I said, acting?
It's funny you asked that question. I did do some acting back in 2021. I did one role and it was in a horror film. And this particular role was a little bit out of my element. I went in with no acting experience at all.
Hmm.
And the director, shouts to Alex, who gave me that amazing opportunity, he said, just come in natural, just be yourself. And he created a character that was almost in my likeness, but I had to play a college professor. So here's the catch though. And I'm pretty sure your wife and a lot of women can attest to this. As you guys can see, my hair is very long. He wanted me to have short hair, Demetrius. So I said, I was like, oh my God, no. Um, are you sure you chose the right girl for this role? I said, do you want me to cut my hair? And I just went in and I did it. He said, I didn't want you to look like one of
Yeah.
the students. I wanted you to look like a college professor. That's why I wanted you to have short hair, to kind of age you a little bit, not age you to the sort of like a Benjamin Button type thing,
Right.
but to age you maturely to look like a college professor. Because if I would have came in with long hair all the way down to my back,
Yeah.
like he wasn't having it. So he said, "Gotta cut your hair." And I said, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna swallow my pride and I'm gonna do this for you, Alex." I nailed it. So yeah.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of times, don't get me wrong, like makeup departments are incredible, but depending on the role, yeah, you got to make some adjustments. I know,
Change.
it's
Yeah.
dead. I never shaved off my hair before, and you know, I did it because it just worked with the character. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta, you know, you gotta make those adjustments, and it's weird because you're just not used to it. But personally, I love short hair. My mom has short hair. My wife has short hair. I'm a huge fan of short hair, personally. I love it to death. I remember as a kid, I had the biggest crush on like Nia Long and Angela Bassett and
That's what it was given. Tony Braxton with a pixie. That's
oh,
I get
the
it.
Portman, like when the short hair, I love short hair. So yeah, but I know that was definitely interesting for you. But like you said, I know you killed it though. I gotta check that out. I would love to see it.
Yes, the assistant too is on YouTube, Jante Productions, Jante. And I
Great.
posted a clip here, so I'll tag you in it so you'll
Yeah.
see it, the part where I'm at, because we did it virtually
Mhm.
and we did the table read. And the funny part about the table read is, like you said in the beginning of the interview, is people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. It
Absolutely.
was so funny when I tell y'all, we were reading over each other's parts. Everybody's parts was getting mixed up. We were reading
Yeah.
each other's lines. Like it was so funny. And then we finally got it together, that final take, and it came out beautiful.
And that's the importance of. I know like a lot of actors, and sometimes I'm guilty of it myself. They're not fans of table reads, and it's just like, you know, because you have actors at a table, or especially with COVID now virtually, you're all
Yeah,
looking, you're reading it, and sometimes it's awkward and whatnot. But they are extremely important for that very reason. You know, the mistakes, you don't want to be making the mistakes on set, even though you're, you know, you can make mistakes. You know, you can just next scene, or I mean next take, cut it out or whatever. But overall, a majority of your mistakes you do want to happen at the table read, and also the table reads are important because a lot of actors unfortunately have lost jobs at the table read. And it's just like, you know, it sucks because you audition, you send in your tape, you go in person. Hey, Demetrius, we love you, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Table read is this day. You get there, everybody's there, you're reading your parts, and then you're sitting there and you're like, wait, his audition was great, but he has absolutely no chemistry with this person.
the
Or,
cast, yeah.
right, absolutely. And it might be an extremely important relationship. And next thing you know, they're like, hey, you know what? You know, we know we said we wanted you as John, but we're gonna switch you to this person. Or I said they've lost jobs or even been promoted. So opposite side at table read. So yeah, they're awkward, but they are extremely important for that very reason that you said. As far as you know, you guys are messing up, but then by the end, you guys were on it.
Yes, and I've developed some bond. When I did that project back in 21, I got the role on my birthday. It was sort of like a birthday gift to me. He asked, "Did you want to star in a film?" And that's when I found out that the character he wanted to have short hair. It was
Mhm.
like, okay, letting me know what the aesthetic of the character was going to be and everything. And I was like, yes, sure, this will be my first acting role. This will be from something great for me to add onto my resume. And so far, so good. It worked out in my favor. Like people were just shocked that I made this character come to life.
That
So
is
yeah.
that is awesome.
All right, fashion dolls, that concludes our turn the table segment with Demetrius. He got to ask me some questions. And I'm going to ask you one last question.
Okay.
And while we're waiting on the audience to come in, is what advice would you give to someone that is looking to find that balance? Because, like I said in the beginning, you're a father, you're a family man, you're a
Mhm.
husband, and you do so many things throughout your career. Like, what advice would you give to someone that is an up and coming actor or indie actor or indie artist or whomever that is watching this and may say, if he can do it, I can do it. I just got to find the balance.
Yeah, I would definitely say if something it's something like a relationship. Acting, your acting career is a relationship. You know,
Ooh,
your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, it's a relationship. Your children's relationship. So if it's important to you, you will find a way to make that relationship work. And that's the way I view acting. No matter what I have going on, my wife, my children, it's like I love them to death. But I also know that I love acting, and acting is extremely important to me. So it might be okay. I need to wake up early before they do to knock stuff out, or I have to wait for them to go to bed and then knock stuff out. Like whatever the case is, if it's important to you, if anything is important to you in life, you find time for it. But with acting, it's not necessarily just about finding time because it's so important to just really embody this. I mean, you really can't sit there. You can't half-ass it, to be honest. Like, you really can't, because that
I know.
shows in your audition. It shows when you're on set. Like, that stuff shows if you actually do not put in the work. So not only do you have to find time for it, but you have to really take everything seriously. And also, I tell people too, I know I mentioned it earlier, like the whole overnight success idea.
Yeah.
It's not real. And unfortunately, like, I love social media. I think social media has done a lot of awesome things. It's shown a bunch of talent, talented people. It's given people platforms like yourself. Like, I love social media, but at the same time, it can be harmful to people because we live in this society to where you look at a page or you look at somebody else's page, somebody looks at your page, and immediately we start to compare ourselves. Man, this dude's been booking this, that, and the third. How come I'm not getting nothing? But you don't know what's going on in that person's life when they put the phone down, right? I never forget somebody messaged me and they were like, "Hey, Demetrius, you're booking all the time and I'm not booking. It's not fair," right? And it wasn't even like on some I'm hating kind of thing. We were just having an honest conversation. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, how long have you been acting?" 6 months. And I was like, "Well, look, I'm going on 10 years. So again, you can't compare it because you just don't know what's going on in that person's life when they put that phone down. You don't know who they know. You don't know what connections they have. You don't know anything. You don't know how much somebody has struggled to get to that point." Um,
Yeah.
I remember I worked with an actress named Debbie Morgan, and Debbie Morgan has had a fantastic career, phenomenal actress. Um, and she was filming her own project. Unfortunately, it didn't get picked up, but I learned so much. She cast me for the project. We filmed it in Maryland, and she was telling me about Omari Hardwick because she plays his mother-in-law in Power. And she was talking about him and how, like, hey, did you know that dude was homeless in LA, sleeping in his car and things like that? But people don't see that. They just see Omari booking all these amazing projects. And they're like,
Yeah.
man, look at that guy. I want to be that. I want to do that, which is cool. But again, you don't know the backstory. You don't know the struggle it takes. So I tell people, don't compare, put in the work, train. You have to train because don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people who are natural at a lot of things, but you still got to put in the work. It's almost like working out or anything like that. It's just, you just can't hope and pray that you're going to wake up looking like, The Rock. The Rock spends hours in the gym, so you have to spend hours with your craft. Find time for it. Find a way to make it happen. Get better. So yeah, train, get better, don't compare, and enjoy your journey. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, but enjoy it. Enjoy it because it's your journey. It's completely different from anybody else's. And you have to respect your journey, respect your life, respect yourself. So that's pretty much just what I tell people.
And I tell people that all the time. Your story is not going to be like someone else's. You have to write
Absolutely.
your own story from beginning to end.
Right.
So I've kind of gotten out of that. Thank you, Quiet Rainstar, for that. He told me to kind of just stop comparing yourself to other people, and other
Yeah.
people have as well too. But I'm like, well, they had this person and this
There you
person and this
go.
person, and they did this on this and their platform. And I'm just like, if you want to do it, you got to do it differently. Tell
I'll tell you a
yours.
quick story. I remember I was in Petersburg, Virginia, filming this project, and I'm not going to say the actor's name because he's a big actor right now. But I remember at the time he wasn't as big as he is now, and I mean this guy he's huge. He's the lead in probably one of the biggest shows on TV right now. So I remember we were in Petersburg, Virginia, filming this project, and I saw him, and he was really young, and I was just like, man. And I knew I was older than him, and I saw he had all these speaking lines and blah blah blah. And I went to him during break, and I was like, "Yo, how did you do this? Like, how did you get this role?" Because I was jealous. I can't call a spade a spade. I was jealous. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking nothing away from him because he is good. But he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, my mom's the director of this," and I was like, "Oh okay." And I remember like that's when it hit me as far as comparing because again, he is good. I can't take that away from him. But when your mom is the director of a project, that helps you out a lot as far as booking the lead role in that project. But it goes back to you just truly never know what's going on behind the scenes. So you could be sitting here and looking at this guy and hating on him, but you don't know that his mom is literally the director of the project. So that's when I realized I'm like, hey, can't hate, can't compare because you just don't know. So all you gotta do is just do you, worry about yourself. And if you do that, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Help others. Don't be selfish when I say like worry about yourself. But it's just like you said, and I said, your journey is your journey, and you got to respect your journey.
Absolutely. And we've got one last question for you. Um,
Oh
Quiet Rainstorm wants to know, have you ever auditioned for First 48 voiceover?
no, I have not auditioned for that. I remember I was supposed to one time, and it didn't happen. I will say this, and I gotta be careful because I literally had to sign a non-disclosure for this past audition.
Don't say too
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna say
much.
that too much, but I recently auditioned for something that is massive, so massive to the point where they did say, "Here's the non-disclosure.
All
You
right.
can't, yeah, you can't even don't talk about the project or what it is." So that's something, and I just auditioned for that, so I'm got my fingers crossed. Um, I
Manifestation.
hope that it works out. Yeah, but for as far as first 48, no, but it'll be pretty cool if I could.
All right, fashion dolls. If we don't have any other questions, this concludes our interview with Demetrius Stevens. Let everyone know where they can follow you. You don't, like you said, don't give away too much.
Oh
Let
yeah,
everyone know any projects that you have coming out.
okay. Yeah, so like I said earlier, the gas station pill starring Young Jock, delicious from Flavor of Love, Kevin Samuels. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to air because we just wrapped maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Um, but it's called the gas station pill. That's going to be a BET plus. My latest national commercial should be airing, I think actually next week. Goodnight Moon children's book, celebrating their 75th anniversary. Yes, I'm really excited about that. I'm filming another project, No Stone Left Unturned, in August. So that's definitely going to be hitting all kind of platforms. I'm really looking forward to that one. And as far as social media, I pretty much do everything on Instagram. So Demetrius_Stevens. You guys can hit me up on there. And again, if you have any questions, if you want any advice about anything that I do, or if you're interested in it, just, hit me up and let me know, and I got you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end of this amazing interview and conversation. We have been going back and forth about the timing, trying to get it together, and it
Yeah,
finally happened
finally
today.
happened. Yeah.
So, such a pleasure to have you here in the
Thank you.
dollhouse.
Thank you for
You're
having me.
welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow joining me, we have Milton Mann Sr., and he's a model, and he's going to be here to talk about the fashion show coming up. So we will see you guys tomorrow at 4. Make sure you guys be safe during the holiday weekend. Take care. I love you all, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Finally, Friday. Take care, everyone.
All right. You guys take care. Thank you.
You too.